welcome to Report Out. Great to welcome Gina and Sarah from the cardio respiratory team, who are going to talk to us about daily management. And also we've got the pleasure of, real pleasure actually, it's always a great moment to award 2 Lean for Leaders certificates. So without further ado, Gina and Sarah, do you want to kick us off?
Thanks, Julian. So as you said, we're going to just describe the progress that our CSUs has made in terms of daily management. So I'm going to present, and Sarah Walker, our head of nursing, is going to contribute at the end if there's any questions and things. So next slide, please. Okay, so what challenges did we face? Well, just to give a brief overview for those on the call. So we're a cross-site CSU, so we have inpatient beds on St James's and LGI, but we also have services across all the sites as well, and that includes a CF day unit at Seacroft Hospital. We have outpatient services at the peripheral sites, so Wharfdale, Chapel Allerton, Seacroft. We have a virtual ward for both respiratory and COVID patients. We have cardiac surgery. We have a large cath lab, one of the largest in the country and the largest heart attack service in the country. And we do diagnostic tests for cardiology and for respiratory for the whole trust across all our sites as well as doing bronchoscopy and David Beavers. So quite a complex service with lots of different specialties and lots of different professional groups as well. And so there was something really about the challenge for us in how we communicate to all those teams across those different specialties, without duplication, without having to repeat things, keep it relevant and focused for those teams as well, and so that we're all working to the same aims of the CSU. As a tri-team, we wanted to have a deep understanding of our daily challenges, and through these conversations be able to put in place any actions to mitigate any risks. So we wanted to have really good oversight of our services on a daily basis. We needed regular assurance that we're delivering safe care for our patients, and that we have sufficient staff with the right skill mix to be able to do so. And we also wanted to be clear about the expectations. What did that mean in terms of timely care, and what actions did we need to take if we weren't meeting these? As a tri-team, our absolute focus is on our team's health and well-being, and we wanted to create a forum where our teams felt safe to be able to share concerns and discuss issues, and also feel supported in doing so. And finally, we wanted to improve our services so that we were an outstanding CSU. Next slide, please. Okay, so we'd previously implemented a production board and a huddle, and this is a photograph pre-COVID, as you can imagine. We set this up on the LGI site, so it didn't address our cross-site services, and staff on other sites weren't cited on this. And also there wasn't a permanent record, the information was quite limited, and we recognised that this way of working didn't provide a solution for all the challenges discussed previously. Next slide, please. So what did we do? So we set up a Teams meeting cross-site, and this is always chaired by a member of the tri-team. We used a simple Excel spreadsheet, and this has developed over time using the PDSA process. So on the bottom right, you can see an example of how our production board used to look. We did RAG rate our services, so you know, really clear visual control, but as I say, it was quite limited. So what we wanted to do is to link what we were doing daily into what were the key things that we needed to deliver, and that was from a CSU point of view, a trust point of view, and thinking about our CQC key lines of inquiry as well. So daily we look at a range of things, and I won't go into too much detail on that, but you know, beds, staffing, discharges, admissions, patient harm, health and well-being, who's on for bronze that day, any escalations and concerns, and any sort of key comms or meetings that were happening that day. So just a really quite concise overview first thing on the morning, that set us up in a really good position, that everybody was really clear if there were any issues, that we were really cited on those and we could put plans in action. Everybody was clear about what those plans were. So in terms of CQC, the items highlighted in blue, where we wanted to sort of keep a focus on that, because I think it's easy to be cited on CQC when a visit's coming or we're doing some you know, practice visits and things, but actually we wanted to embed this into our day-to-day working. So in terms of SAFE, we review our staffing levels across all our groups. We put in mitigation for any gaps or support cross-site, and we also review skill mix as well to make sure that the staff have the skills to deliver the care they need to. And we might put in place additional training if there's some issues, or we swap staff around to be able to do so. In terms of caring, we have a daily review of our staff health and well-being, and we specifically ask if anybody's got any concerns that they want to escalate, and we promote an open culture doing that as well. And the staff on the call are really open, and we discuss issues readily with the team. In terms of being effective, we look at patients without a reason to reside. If we've got any internal escalations, we discuss those. Key to share our silver discharge targets, so we're always working towards that. And we focus our discharge teams cross-site where needed. In terms of responsive, we monitor our inpatient waiting times with clear expectations about when diagnostic tests should be done and what actions we take if we exceed those response times, such as reallocating workforce, changing outpatient list to inpatient list, that type of thing. And in terms of well-led, it gives visibility of our tri-team, and that's particularly important when we've got new people in our management team. We don't have the same one-to-one, face-to-face meetings and interactions that we used to do. So it provides that regular contact that helps build some of those relationships. We provide support to our teams, and we're also clear about any actions required to be able to respond to staff concerns straight away. So probably a couple of examples are where the cardiac surgery matron escalated some concerns that patients were voicing in terms of the waiting times for cardiac surgery. I went up to the ward and spoke to those patients, just conscious of the pressures that the nursing teams who were seeing those patients on a day-to-day basis, and actually they felt really supported when I went on to the ward. And equally, our head of nursing and our clinical director went to another ward when they'd had a really difficult shift, and they went on and supported some of our teams. And sometimes it's our senior teams who have a wobble, and having that support is really helpful for them. And as part of our huddle, we encourage collaboration. So our teams work really well now cross-site. They support each other with the staff. We motivate the staff during these sessions as well, and we encourage them to succeed. And we recognise good work on a daily basis. And you know, we do that in other ways as well, but I think this just reinforces some of that. Next slide, please. So what went well? So the staff are really engaged, and they see the value in the huddle. They're really clear about any actions that are needed, and we have joint decision making about what these need to be, and we agree that those in advance. We've got leader standard work in terms of how the teams report out, and that keeps the meeting relatively structured and concise, because there is a lot to discuss. We have a daily review of health and well-being. I think that's really important, and we specifically ask teams the question about how they're feeling and how their teams are feeling as well. We also have a daily oversight of patient safety, so in terms of things like out of hours moves, day ticks, patient harm. Have we got patients in the emergency department, so we need to focus on discharges, or looking at how we can make a bed for those patients. Are there any further actions we need to take to mitigate any risks? So our focus also to be outstanding, and rather than just linking this to a CQC visit, embedding this in our daily work. And then just further out, rolling out our daily management to include people links, stand up and report out across the CSU. Next slide, please. So what would we do differently? So I think time. Originally, we allocated 15 minutes to the huddle, and that seemed like a really, we didn't want to spend too long, take too much out of the day, but actually it takes longer than that. It takes about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. But we think that's really valuable time spent with the teams at the start, planning the day, and it limited some of the further calls and queries throughout the day as well. I think one of the things about the time that we spend in the huddle is we always have a few minutes at the start, and that's informal chat, and I think that helps build relationships and build the team as well. And again, particularly when we've got new people joining our management team, I think that's really, really valuable. We've didn't agree standard work for reporting, so at the start our report outs took longer because we weren't structured and people were jumping to different things. We were filling the forms in, but it was taking us longer, so it's much better now. We didn't link our report out to our CSU vision, trust goals and CQC key lines of inquiry, so I think it was just bringing all those things together, so that there was a clear focus at what do we need to be looking at daily, what are the key things. I think we could have included health and wellbeing from the start. We did implement that during COVID, but I think it would have been beneficial to proactively look at this. I think we did it in response to, we noticed that staff were struggling, and some of us were struggling as well, to be honest. And I think actually being proactive in asking those questions and sense checking that on a regular basis would have been helpful. And I think that's it. Is there a next slide, or is that the last slide? That's it. Okay. Brief whistle stop talk.
Thanks very much, Gina. That's great. Sarah, anything to add from your point of view?
No, I think Gina's articulated our journey really, really well. So nothing new to add.
Really good, Gina. I really like the sort of combination you've got of both the sort of focus on engagement, staff health, well-being, support, as well as the systematic approach to using the tools of the method, the daily management piece and standard work. So yeah, really good to see. We'll hold questions for now because we do those at the end. So perhaps if colleagues can be thinking about any questions or comments for Gina and Sarah, that would be great. So moving on, always a pleasure to congratulate our Lean for Leaders graduates. We've got two today. We've got Sanjay, who of course many of you will know, consultant, part of the AMS team, and we've got Stephen, perioperative team leader in theatres and anaesthesia. So Sanjay, Stephen, can you imagine I'm virtually handing across your certificates? many congratulations to you both. Great achievement. I know how much goes into the work to do Lean for Leaders, and the kind of the getting your head around tack time and all the terms and the processes that perhaps aren't as familiar to us. Certainly I found that, but hopefully really helpful in terms of how you go about doing your work and the work of your team. So just wanted perhaps to give you both a chance to say a bit about your experience, any reflections, any thoughts or comments, and maybe start with you, Sanjay.
Yeah, thanks, Julian, and it's great to be here. I think what I've learned from this is the leadership roles are incredibly varied. There are lots of different roles across the organisation, and when you do the Lean for Leaders, you meet leaders that may have very different jobs to you. But what Leeds Improvement Method teaches you is that there are basics that every leader needs: listening, meeting the team, communicating well, and the tools are incredibly useful at making sure that you do those in a standardized way. And I started Lean for Leaders when I started my clinical leadership journey, and it's really inspired me to continue in that way. It's inspired me to continue in my leadership role. So I would recommend it to anyone, and I'm glad I did it.
That's fantastic. And I know, Sanjay, you're a great champion of education and training and development, and certainly coming along to see the success of, for example, the Urology Boot Camp.
Yeah.
Do you think there's scope for this kind of approach being part of the our surgeons in training and the way that we kind of organise events like the boot camp?
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. I think the principles of the Leeds Improvement Method are they apply to any service that maybe we want to improve and change. And I would consider that education is an absolute cornerstone of one of the services that the trust should provide. Learning is something that we should all be doing all the time. Yeah. And so I think applying those principles to make sure we improve and maximize the efficiency of those learning opportunities. Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Sanjay. We'll pause there. I've been a bit cheeky asking you a question when I said questions up at the end, so we'll make time for questions at the end. So, Stephen, Rennie, congratulations to you, and maybe an opportunity for you maybe to offer some thoughts or reflections on your journey.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me today. It's been an absolute privilege and pleasure doing the Lean for Leadership course. It's been a challenging journey, but it's taken me so much further and sort of improving me as a leader with my team. And it's just sort of really driven home to me how important it is to draw your team forward as a leader. And that's certainly been a benefit to both myself and the team with how we're moving forward with the services we provide. And it's certainly changed my perspective into how we draw everybody in with any sort of development we do within the team, how important it is that you actually have everybody involved. And so the processes I've learned with Lean for Leadership has absolutely helped me in doing that. And it's just the start of the journey, really, and we're going to continue improving as a team, both within the sort of the PACU team that I work with and theatres and anaesthesia as a whole. And it's certainly going to benefit us moving forward with the work that we're doing, because we're starting work now, working with sort of blended team approach within theatres. And actually sort of speaking to our colleagues across the country in actually how they do the same, so we can learn from their sort of innovations and ideas and sort of draw them into what we do as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Really good to hear that, Stephen. A really powerful sort of testimony from you about what the difference it's making to you and the team. So well done to both of you. Great work, and really looking forward to seeing how you both sort of take it forward further and hopefully come back to report outs in the future to talk about the work that you're doing. So let's move on to Q&A. So we've got some great had some great sort of interactions and presentations to get our teeth into in terms of questions and comments from obviously from Gina and Sarah, but also Sanjay and Stephen on their Lean for Leaders work. So who'd like to kick off? Phil, and then Lisa. Sorry, Phil, then Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. So first off, just to say a big well done to Stephen again, and also Sanjay. Yeah, well done for getting through that marathon. But I came to hear Stephen do his kind of final report out bit, the Lean for Leaders, and it was just fantastic to hear about the kind of teamwork and change in the culture of the team. So fantastic to hear that. Thank you, Stephen. And I guess my question probably for Gina and Sarah is similar, is that clearly your teams are really engaging in that weekly event with you, that weekly huddle, and are getting much more clarity about it. Where do you think you are on that continuum of those team members then kind of taking that back into their part of the CSU and driving it forward at their sort of local level, if you like? So they're really using the tools to think about some of the daily management issues that they're facing.
So I think it's instrumental, Phil, to be honest with you. So obviously we have the daily operational huddle. The matrons then utilise that information, and we've got our perfect ward production boards. So it's just having that chain of communication. Obviously, you know, we've got the operational demands, but then obviously then there's the learning and the standard work behind that as well. The other element that it's made of us think of even more is actually our standard work within our roles, within our teams. So we've got standard work for Hon, we've got standard work for Deputy Hon, standard work for Silver, again working with the matrons at the moment around their standard work. So just to try and make us more efficient and to understand each other's roles, and it enables us to walk in each other's shoes as well a little bit with that standard work to stop duplication. I think with regards to our more junior staff on the wards, we have got some work to do with regards to kind of embedding this approach, but it is something we're absolutely committed to do.
Can I just add to that, Phil?
Yeah.
It's as Sarah describes, I think we're really embedding it across the CSU. We do have ask for deputies, so there's representation from all the different staff groups. So if the matron's not able to attend, the sisters attend, or the service managers attend, and they describe some of the huddles, you know, the daily huddles, and how they've seen that improve their daily work as well back in their areas. The lead clinicians, I didn't mention that, but as well as our clinical director, our lead clinicians join the huddles as well. And again, taking that back to the wards and the more junior staff, talking about now implementing standard work for our junior doctors to help with, you know, things like EDANs and that type of thing. So yeah, I think we're really progressing well in that journey.
Right, Gina, thank you. I think Chris, then Lisa.
Thank you. It's really good examples across the board of how improvement methodologies are having such a big impact across all elements of the service. I suppose my question to everybody was recognising the momentum that's being built up with Leeds improvement method. How do we maintain that momentum and maintain that consistency when often there are many pressures that can sometimes pull us away from doing this work?
I think, Chris, to be honest, it's been our enabler, the fact that we are working under pressure. It's enabled us to have more structure, process, routine, understanding. So I think for our CSU, and I suppose it's just getting that message out there that actually it's been a great tool to get us to where we are today, and we'll continue to grow from it. That's my perspective.
I think when you're working under pressure, one of the key things is prioritising. And I think one of the things that the huddle helps us to do is prioritise our work, and people are really clear then and focused, rather than thinking, oh my goodness, I've got so much, but I don't know what to do first, I don't know where to start. It's really clear, that plan then for the day.
Thank you. Lisa.
Thanks, Julian. Thanks everybody. That was brilliant. Brilliant report out today. Probably another question really for Sarah specifically. You've really made me think. When you're talking about the standard work, and I don't know if you've got a view or anyone's got a view around. Now we're in the depths or heading into winter and really challenging times. Just how we use standard work with our teams to focus the mindset to be as safe as we can. So I'm thinking specifically when we're doing some work with the ED teams, the nursing staff around winter KPIs, about being very clear when there's a tipping point in the department, they're getting really full, and around how we maintain that safety. And I guess, do you have a view? Is there more that we could do? We could, step the methodology up a little faster in some areas, to use some of the principles maybe. And do you have a view, Sarah, about how we do currently get that governance and oversight around perfect ward from the huddles and the way that you're approaching things? I mean, maybe not for now, but do you have any comments around maybe do we need to do something a little differently? Just to get that assurance and using the method in a different way. You don't have to answer that now. It's just some reflections you've given me through your presentation.
I think going back to the standard work, I think it's breaking it down, isn't it, into realistic and manageable chunks. And like you say, if staff are feeling overwhelmed in certain departments, then so you've got your kind of hourly responsibility, your daily responsibility, your weekly responsibility. So that team are really clear around those safety KPIs and how they will be met through their role. So it could be very simple to begin with. I mean, we have the nurse in charge checklist. It could be kind of related to that. So yeah, so I suppose it's how teams function already, but something very visible for them to see. I suppose some areas have done it with regards to enhanced care, having a kind of clear kind of standard work when you're providing enhanced care to this patient. This is your role and responsibility. And I suppose they've touched on it in ED, haven't they, with the fact that we've got lots of different nurses coming into that area. So this is what your role needs to be. So I do think that would be really, really helpful, the fact that we've got nurses moving around the organisation, because from a stress test perspective, our stress test results and staff survey result, that's one of the things that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. So I'm sure that potentially could help. With regards to governance and the perfect ward boards, I'm not sure we've totally got that right yet, I'll be honest. Sarah, our new deputy head of nursing that started this week, that's one of her objectives. Because I really want the board to be utilised in a way that everybody on the ward has that clear understanding, and I don't think we're there yet. So we will be in a month's time when Sarah's tackled that. So I hope that answers your questions, Lisa.
Great, thanks very much, Sarah. Just checking if there's any more questions or comments. We can't see any. We're at 1 o'clock, so perfect timing. Thank you very much to today's presenters, Gina, Sarah. Many congratulations to Sanjay and Stephen. Really good to see the kind of discussion and the interaction on this, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next report out. Those of you that haven't been before, do spread the word about Report Out. Anyone can join us, and the KPO team do a great job organising us for this. So please feel free to pass on the link and get colleagues to join. The next one is on Friday, the 26th of November. Same time, same place in the virtual space of Microsoft Teams. So thank you very much, everyone. Great to see you all. Well done, and see you next time. End of Report Out. Thank you.